Hello, everyone. Yes, we are live both on our webinar platform and also on our YouTube channel on SME Banking TV. So, hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Olena Gryniuk. I'm Regional Director for the CEE region at the SME Banking Club, and I will host today's session. And today we decided to go in details and talk about how to implement modern factoring software successfully. As we talk much about the digitalization of the factoring product during our events. So let's discuss today the best practices for system implementation in the region. And my guest today is Karol Leszczyński, Product Development Manager at Comarch Factoring Platform. Comarch is one of the leading providers of factoring software globally and here in the CE region, and also headquartered in Krakow. So we are broadcasting from Krakow for you today. So hello, Karol, and welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Elena, for the opportunity to take part on another webinar with SME Banking Club. I would like to share with you our experience from previous implementations and give you the tools and knowledge to make sure you have chosen the right partner. We already know a lot about what modern factoring should look like, but we still feel that banks and factoring companies could know better. Today, we will give you the questions to ask your vendor before making a final decision. In the following slides, you will find a bunch of details about the technological software key elements, best project approach, and two types of data migration you can choose from. Why we do this? Because we believe that the cooperation goes smoother when both sides are on the same page. So the first question, important question, is what are the key elements of a factoring system you should consider? Why is it important to be sure that vendor will provide us with the latest technology? What fresh technology in use is? So modern factoring system should provide a microservices approach. Microservices are a very big advantage. For example, a factoring system can have different modules like repayment module, contract module, administration module, etc. And thanks to microservices, each of those modules act as a separate entity. Of course, these modules work together, but if you want to add some improvement to the selected module, it will not affect the operation of other modules or entire systems. So developers can work on separate microservices, upload patches, or improvement without affecting the situation until a few years ago. But please remember, to cover all these microservices approach, we need to have more experienced developers and better knowledge. In today's world, fresh look and intuitive system is also a must. So well thought user experience and app interface. Let's remember that people get attached to what is known. They don't like changes. They have to learn a new system, create templates, etc. In other words, we are not able to please everyone. That's why cooperation with experienced UX team should be an everyday occurrence. The role of UX lab is very important in the software development process. They organize meeting with customers who use the system on a daily basis. In addition, I strongly encourage to do this. Such tests takes about 1 hour, where the end customers performs indicated comments in the system, such as adding a contractor, buying an invoice, etc. And if task is not able to be done, it is critical error. So believe me, end customers can provide you a lot of valuable information. High performance cloud infrastructure. companies experiencing high level of growth should consider investing in cloud-based services. The scalability of cloud gives the growing business the flexibility to expand their bandwidth and capacity on demand. Similarly, if a company is experiencing a period of decline, it can scale down. Such as a result, company can adapt to a change in a real time. When it comes to capacity concerns, cloud can meet your needs and take expensive hardware out of equation. And quick product delivery. Should the implementation of the system be difficult and unpleasant? The answer is, of course, no. The product should be delivered as quickly as possible. Of course, everything depends on the scope of implementation, additional functionalities, and the scope of integration and data migration. However, in my opinion, it shouldn't take more than 3 to 6 months from signing the contract. Effortless expansion with new features. From my point of view, financial industry is the industry that needs to answer the new requirements as fast as possible. But what I notice that it should be done the right way. There is so much information to cover right now on dashboard, etc. When we are providing software for finance industry, we need to decide which data is the most important. What I mean is creating new features. When we are creating new features, we need to be sure that we are providing right information for the end customer to make their decision as easy as possible. Because in today's times, we have much more information than we used to have a few years ago, but we have less time for the right decisions. And other important issue is transparency. Factors should exactly know when the next release will happen. So cyclical releases with no impact on customers, transparent implementation of the system, precise dates, division of implementation into phases, and of course, a little impact on the end users as possible. This is very important, but to put it in bluntly, we must ensure that continuity of the system work so the factors can earn money. That's why I think providing a release plan is very important. It means that we are providing a plan of a product improvement roadmap, for example, for 2023 and 2024. That means our clients know exactly what they will receive from us, and we are providing this release each quarter. And the nearest quarter is planned very carefully. If we start this quarter, it will be more difficult to change these features for the new ones. Of course, it is possible. For example, we can change one feature for another. But please remember that we are also flexible if our clients need a specific requirement, and we are open to change priorities. But does the vendor offer software only? Does the supplier offer software only? So closely cooperation with client while creating new functionalities. In my opinion, it's worth talking to the clients from the initial phases of a functional design. In this case, we show the concept we have developed and ask customers if they see a room for improvement. Such actions will allow you to react the initial stage of development, and we will avoid unnecessary cost in the future. And what about extra product features included? Another undoubted advantage is the possibility of building exclusive functionality, and this gives the client the opportunity to build a competitive advantage over other market players. However, it should be remembered that such exclusive functionality cannot be, for example, a regularity or legal legal requirement, because this would prevent other factors from working with the system. Of course, very important thing is employee training, education about IT solutions, safety. The new technologies are very important also for factor employees. That's why we put great emphasis on education. We are a member of educational and marketing team in Polish Factor Association. We also deliver tutorials for end users, for both front office users and back office users, to make using the system as easy as possible. And of course, cyclical workshop with the clients. This is also an incredible advantage. Discussing the scope of requirements with analysis allows you to go and truly understand the process that the banks and factors face on the daily basis. And by better understanding their daily struggles, we are able to make their lives easier and work on the system even more user-friendly. And when we're thinking about implementation, which methodology is the best? Which one we should choose? And most importantly, we should ask what work methodology the system provider uses. So please, let's start with the Agile. Agile is a project. In an Agile, a project is conducted in sprints, for example, 2-week sprints. Short iterations in which small part of solutions, such as particular functionalities of the solution, are developed, tested, and delivered to the customer for efficient testing and approval. The main feature of Agile methodology is that the project requirements are not fixed and assumed 100% in advance. In other words, aspects such as scope of functionality and the way the system works are constantly evolving during the project. This approach also reduces the risk of costly changes later in the project. The Agile methodology also emphasizes the comfort of the implementation team on the client side, which knows exactly what stage the product is at the time, because after each sprint, so in this case, every 2 weeks, for instance, it receives feedbacks on the progress of the work and can check on an ongoing basis how the new functionalities work. But maybe waterfall will better suit my needs. Waterfall is characterized by a linear and sequential approach to project management. This approach divides the software development process into distinct phases, where each phase must be completed before moving on to the next one. And we can distinguish the following phases: requirements, gathering all project requirements, creating documentation of the solution and specification. Then there is a design, so creating of the software design, which includes the interface, architecture, and the system specification, among other things. Then we have development, the software from the start to the finish. Then comes verification, testing the solution, and verifying the requirements that have been met. And at the end, implementation and maintenance. So installing the created system, developed system, example, in the client's infrastructure, and then maintaining and monitoring for functionality and performance. And one of the main advantages of the waterfall methodology is it is predictability. The process is well defined from the very beginning, and each phase must be completed before moving to the next one. So this is a different approach than agile, but the biggest disadvantages of this approach is that it can be difficult and costly to make any changes. Example, new functionality, the way the module works, but also the look of the system. For example, the system for the end customer. And after we complete a particular phase of the project, it requires starting some phases of the project from the scratch, basically, with the changes made, and it requires time and additional previously unplanned resources. And to summarize, agile versus waterfall, the choice is of the methodology should depend on the project requirements, the budget, schedule, and resources for implementation. Ultimately, the success of our project depends on a number of factors, such as the project team's ability to adapt to a particular methodology, collaborate effectively with and deliver high quality software that meets the client's requirements. So that's the difference. And does your vendor have tools to support you with implementation? It is important to know what are the vendor's plans about it for your company. So the key thing is to implement the system in such way that its users, the end customers, and the factor's employees will not be affected by it. Here's why we recommend factoring system implementation in two phases. In the first phase, the factor gets a ready-to-go system that can be easily used by its clients and employees. These elements corresponding of the factor's brand. It also includes migration and necessary integrations. So this phase allows end customers to use a system and for a factor it means earning money. Such prepared systems allows to fully conduct business activity. And in the second phase, we offer adjustment of the system to the requirements of the future client and preparation of specific improvement and functionalities and other integrations with external systems, for instance, and of course additional products. And how to migrate customer data? Which way will be the best for my clients, for my factoring company? Customer migration to the new system can be divided into two approaches. And the first is so-called the big bang migration, where the transfer of all customers takes place once, example, on a weekend. This means that factor customers will start a new week with a new system. It's very important to provide a demo of the new system and appropriate training before this procedure, so that customers who will use the system are not surprised by the sudden changes. And the second approach is so-called friends and family approach. And in addition, the new customers, because there is no point in directly a newly acquired customer to an old system that will soon be replaced by the new one. It is worth thinking about customers with whom we have good relationships and who will be happy to use the new solution. In a subsequent stages, we periodically transfer subsequent customers so that all of them are migrated. Here's why this is very important to ask friends and family customers about their feelings about their new system in order to collect feedback and react in a timely manner. And what are the results of above? What will happen? What can happen if everything I've said is delivered by the vendor? This is the result of launching a new improvement version of the system for one of our largest clients and the biggest factors in Poland. It was an NPS, the Net Promoter Score study. Users appreciate the ease of use of the system. Thanks to the intuitive solution, they didn't have to use the help of the factor employees. It is also worth mentioning that transparent reports that facilitate the work of the people dealing with accounting on a daily basis. And this only shows why it is worth doing UX research and using the latest technological solutions. And that's all from my side for today from my presentations. So maybe there are some questions.
Thank you very much, Karol. Yes, I do encourage all our attendees to type their questions in the chat. And we do have the first one from Martin. How long does it take to implement a factoring system on average?
I think it's a very good question. I think we are easily able to do it between 6 to 9 months. And I think that should be the average. I think this is the average on the market, as I spoke with our competition as well. So 6 months after signing the agreement. It's something we can easily do with all of the scope, with all of the requirements. And as I mentioned in my presentation, with dividing implementation into 2 phases.
All right. Pretty fast, I would say. So yes, we have
I think it's
yeah. We have some extra minutes for your questions, so please don't hesitate to type. Well, I have several questions to you, Karol, while we're waiting for our attendees. I would like to get back on, or just to, recall the slides on the Agile and Waterfall methodology. So my question is, what is like the factor and you as a software provider or in general software provider use different methodologies for project management? Like, for example, you use Agile as far as I know, and the factor might use Waterfall. What do you do in this case?
I think the most important we should do is to discuss with the client the advantages and disadvantages of both methodology. Understanding the view of both sides and choose the best one. If the client decides that the best option for him is Waterfall, of course, we are ready to adapt and start the project with this methodology. But as you know, I am a big fan of Agile, so we usually recommend going with the Agile methodology. But we are able to adapt, of course.
So you're able to do Waterfall as well. All right.
Before Agile, we did the implementation with Waterfall, of course.
Sure. We have a question from Eva. What are your recommended approach for integrations with existing systems?
I think as I mentioned earlier, this is very important to decide which way of implementation do you want. Do you want to migrate all your customers or your data on one weekend, or would you like to choose the second phase when you implement the friends and family and start to implement system also divided into phases? So in my opinion, the second one is better. When we start with a bunch of clients, for example, 30% of clients at the beginning, we see how they react, we see how they use the system, we see the scores, and then we start to put other clients on the system. Into the system.
I want to also to ask the following question. I mean, this is what I've heard from the players on the market. So when factors are choosing the providers, they try to to define how flexible is the provider.
Yeah.
Right. So whether they are able to implement fast maybe some new functions or some new requirements. And also the one interesting thing is that what if there is a case that for example the customer asks for a changes or for a features that you sort of have in your system, but they would like to have it kind of in a more convenient way, because for example they use it in a specific way in the previous system. So whether you can change existing functionality as well for the customer.
I think it's also a very good question. What we notice during implementation of our system is that very often our clients wanted to add some small improvement of given feature. And so they ordered a customer request, some specific customer request. But when they learned more and more about our solution, about our system, they noticed that this small change is usually unnecessary, because when they know the system better, they are able to live with this future at this shape. And that shows that this system is very rich in given functionalities. And remember that client would like to have a new system mapped one-on-one with the previous one, with the old one. But I'm not sure it should work that way. But of course, we are also flexible, because if client want to improve this functionality, we are open to talks. We are open to put it on our roadmap in our sprints to start implementation in the way the client likes.
This is great, I would say. Karol, what is, in your opinion, the starting point, I would say, for the digital transformation in factoring industry? Whether this is a change of a software or change of the processes or change of the mindset, or altogether?
I think altogether, but I think which we should start. And from my point of view, the mindset is the most important thing here, because people on the top of the board, of the top of the organization, need to understand that new generation of entrepreneurs are coming by storm, and they will look for digital solutions without necessarily leaving home. They want to do everything online. So non-digital processes, non-digital solutions will no longer have place in our industry. And please remember that transformation will not take place in 1 or 2 weeks. It takes a little bit more time. So the sooner they start, it's better for the organizations. There are also a new factory companies that are entering the market, and they will use digital software, and they will skip non-digital stage from the beginning. So from the first day of their work, for the beginning, they will have a very, very big advantage with their competition, because they will use new software, new technology with digital processes. So it's very important right now. I think it will happen in the future that every factor will use digital and online processes and approach.
Yeah, thank you very much, Karol. And on this line, we will end today's webinar. Thank you very much for your attendance and your attention. Right after we finish, we will send you the presentation and the recording of the webinar. So thank you very much. See you
Once
next time.
again, thank you for the opportunity, and see you the next time.